Oh. Okay, I did that backwards, so we're going live on Facebook now that the recording is already in progress. That works too. All right. It's live streamed. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. So hooray, everyone. There's no such thing as time. So feeling like you're hurried or pressured to hurry up or anything like that is always an illusion. You know, sometimes it seems like there's this energy of being hurried to get to a place where you can relax, right? It's like you want to hurry through something, and it's like an internal movement. The thoughts are moving fast, jumpy, to get where you think you want to go, get what you think you want. And whatever it is that you actually want, you can't get it that way. You're never going to get it that way. It's like that song, you can't get any satisfaction, right? No matter what. And you know, a dude who's singing this has like all the money in the world, so you can buy all the things that you think would give you satisfaction, if only, or even if you just have the money, you know, you feel some kind of satisfaction or whatever it is. It's not coming from that. You can only get temporary relief from your sorrow, from your pain. You can only get temporary relief through the things in the world, to the things that you think you can get, because you don't even get them. That's why they're not satisfying. They're not real. There's nothing there to receive. It's only a seeming thing, a passing thing. It's as if you could just figure it out. I remember when I was like 18 or something, and I was going, I just have to figure out how to make a lot of money. I just have to figure that out. And I recall the burden that was on my energy field to figure it out. I noticed, wow, it made me feel heavy and serious to try to figure something like that out. And, you know, my son went through something like that recently too. And he did his business, and he thought he had a solution for making a bunch of money. And it just turned out to be, nope, dead end for you. It's just like, and then, for me at one point, it seemed to be working because I seemed to like have a bunch of money. But even at that point, I would be like, you know what? It just seems like I want more. There's not satisfaction there. And the things that it seems to get you, they end up failing to be pleasurable, even because it becomes so much like a habit, this way of getting the worldly pleasures for ourselves, and you can tell it's burdensome because your mind becomes jumpy. We'll just jump from thing to thing to thing and not relax and take in, because to hear the truth, you have to be listening. Like the truth is always speaking to you, but to hear it, you have to be listening for it. It's that still small voice. So it's quiet. When you're hurried, when you feel like you have to rush to do something, that's the moment to stop. It's like stopping in your mind. It's like you stop pursuing. Like, oh, it's almost like you look from above the thought process, uh one of my friends was bringing up on Friday at Wisdom Dialogues about these thoughts that are occurring, about like, you know, if this person is doing things like this, and isn't it strange, and you know isn't isn't it ironic, whatever it is, whatever the story is. The thing is, those thoughts about what the person is doing is part of that hurried mind thing, or how they're behaving. That's part of that hurried mind thing. Whenever you're evaluating the way someone relates, whenever you're evaluating it, the way someone relates, because they're relating to you is only coming to you to depict what's not true. It's like the whole thing is like it's a depiction. The perceived world is meant to show you what you're not, basically. That's what it's doing. And the one who cares about how things go in the perceived world is afraid of feeling. It's just afraid of feeling. So it's trying to control things. Where the only place we are lacking freedom is conceptually. It's in the concepts. And what is freedom too? Because that's where there's a lot of confusion. I mean, you could be under like a communist regime and still be free, because freedom is of the mind, it's not of the body. And even like demanding that the government give you your freedom is demonstrating that you think freedom is of the body and not of the mind. See, only the mind can be free. Now the mind can either use the body for as a means to it being free, right? As a means for, that's what it's for. The mind can either use it like that or use it to get what it thinks it wants in the world, freedom for the body. See, Blaze was just telling me how it's just not comfortable where he's staying over where he moved out. He's my big son, and it's just really not comfortable where he's staying. And I said, well, that was the same story you had when you were over here. Do you notice that? He's like, yeah. I go, yeah, that's how patterns work. There's always something, if not that, something else. Once you get to the point where nothing bothers you about the place where you live, which, that's a tall order. Okay? Where nothing bothers you but say you did have nothing, of course, nothing where you live is bothering you, really, you're projecting it. But just like, say you had the experience that where you live is so perfect, nothing was bothering you there at all. Something else would bother you unless the guilty thought had been purified. And see, it's like it's an error in the sight. This world that we get a perception of, where people are attacking us and stuff, that's an error in the sight. We think we're victims of this world because we put belief and faith in the idea that people in the world, including ourselves, can act autonomously. There's nothing there. The action, whatever the action is, it's like everyone who gets a perception that action is taking place, took place, heard about it, anything, is projecting it. It's projected from a mind that, the senses that it's perceiving through the body sense that it's perceiving through is made to be guaranteed to perceive illusions. That's what it does. So the goal is to see beyond the perceived world. So in the moment where you get a charge, get an emotional charge, that's the invitation. And you know what, you guys, feeling busy is an emotional charge. Feeling overwhelmed, so for the most part, people don't realize they're even feeling these things all day. It's like going from one shitty feeling to another shitty feeling over and over again. And the thoughts are just leading it around. It's like, and our choice, the choice, when we realize that we have a choice, our choice, the choice we can make in that is to just be released from it. Don't even have to go down that path. And if you already went down that path and you got yourself feeling really shitty, you can choose then in that moment. It's only your doubt that prevents you from being released right away. It's doubt and unwillingness. That's all that prevents you from being released right away. I mean, really, you can have peace right now in the midst of whatever it is. And it helps to remember, I'm making all of the stories. I'm making all of the stories up. It's really funny. So I did the cannabis festival this weekend. I was vending there. I had 5 of Miracle Botanicals cannabis oils, cannabis essential oil, and the pain formula, sleep formula called Sweet Dreams, all kinds of fun stuff. It was a little bit rainy, lots of cool action. The fun and learning part of it was amazing. I never know what's going to pop up in every experience, but I always just use it for, seeing through what I made, the illusions that I made, so I can be more clear so I can see clearer. That's my joy. It's everyone's joy. It helps everyone. So we get to the spot and we start unpacking our stuff, and all of us, well, let's start back from a little bit earlier than that. Let's start back from the day before. The day before, out of the blue, I just mentioned to my partner, my husband, my love, Tony, I mentioned to him, you know what? I realized that the reason I feel so pressured by you is because I put a lot of pressure on myself. And he goes, you feel pressured by me? And he kind of seemed defensive to me. And I go, oh no, it's not about you. I'm just telling you how I feel. It's not like you're doing anything. You're perfect. No, I just have felt that my whole time. And there's like some defensiveness to that. I go, oh, that's interesting. So then the next day we're setting up for the market, and the way in which he manages, he manages a team. He almost feels like he's managing a team, and you're the team, and then one other woman, that a friend of mine, Hannah, was with us, and so he's managing both of us. And it's kind of like he's barking orders. He's like, no, not like that, do it like this. And that, I don't know, that's the perception anyway. It's like, whoa, it's like all this intense energy really fast. I'm used to it. And I know that it's awesome, because it's like, if I say I want to get set up at the farmer's market, I could just get bossed around for like a few minutes and then I'm all set up. Okay, that's fine. I've been, you just like, okay. And, you make little mistakes or whatever. And then he's like, no, not like that. And you're like, oh, okay, like this, okay. And you're set up really fast. So I was hanging out with Hannah during the course of it, and I related that to her, what I just related to you about, like, how it is. And and I said, he's kind of grumpy when he's doing that. And he's a little bit intense and grumpy when he's doing that, but then it goes by and it just passes. So so later on in the day, I call him up and I said, okay, I'm ready to go. And so he comes back. And this is awesome, by the way. I mean, I went to this festival. I was like the only one I think I saw that had that kind of service where a dude just comes over and sets you up and breaks you down, like with minimal effort on your part. But so he comes back, and as but right before he came back, Hannah took a break to go chill out in the tea lounge, right? There was a tea lounge where they were making spliffs. It was like the best booth ever that I've ever seen. So she's over there hanging out over there. And then she comes back right as my partner comes, and he's talking to someone else at the festival. I see my partner. She comes back and she's like, okay, Hope, you go ahead and go over to the tea lounge. I got this. I'll take care of it. So I go over there and I'm hanging out and have a little spliff and some tea. And then the next thing I know, uh, uh, Hannah's back and she's like, Tony wants you. You have to come over there. Or it was kind of like that kind of vibe. She didn't say it like that, but it was like that kind of vibe. Like, you got to go over there. And I'm like, okay, okay. So I go over there and I'm thinking he wants me to help him clean up, right? So what I see are 3 coconuts that I just think they're trash because he's cleaning up. I'm not thinking of drinks being there. So I pick them up and I bring him over to the coconut guy and set him in his thing, ready to be chopped. Well, first I drink the rest of one of them because one of them had some coconut in there. Next thing you know, he comes back around and he's like visibly angry in the middle of the festival. And he's telling me how unhelpful I am, and he's like raising his voice, like scolding me and stuff like that in the festival. And I just like feel this course of energy. I'm like, whoa, feel this really big course of energy. And I just let that be the energy. I don't get resistant to it. I don't get fearful of it. I just let that be the energy. Like, okay, that's what it is. And so when the angry kind of yelling kind of energy, and I'm so glad this kind of stuff I could share it with you because, I know people get this kind of stuff every day, and this doesn't happen very often in my world. So this is just really fun. So, so immediately, uh, there was a sense of, well, what can I do to help out? There's just like a sense of, oh, well, what can I do to help out? But then there was a sense of, okay, this energy right here, it's not really looking for help. It's in projection mode right now. So it's like, okay, well, just relax here. And then there's nothing. So then I just relaxed and had a like physically sat down and had a moment where I just integrated the energy, just integrating the energies, right? There's all this um, excited energy. It's like coursing through, and it's kind of like, whoa, what just went on? So then he came back again, and I was just kind of like laughing by that point. I was just like, in a mode where it's like, okay, well, what can I do? And then my friend, and then he just said all this stuff to me. And then my friend goes, you know, kind of like scolding me again. And then my friend that was sitting next to me just goes, would you like a coconut? And then he took the coconut, and then he was so sweet after that. I told my friend, that is just such the best demonstration that none of this is meaningful, to just pull out a coconut and be like, you want a coconut? This is the perfect demonstration that this is not anything. So yeah, and then after that, everything was just taken care of. I hung out for a little while, had some more tea, had some more spliffs, did some of their little healing things, had some dance, had some uh, food. And, um, you might get the impression that it's a good idea, and it might be a good idea for you, I don't know, to tell your partner, hey, it's not appropriate to act like that, yelling at me, scolding me, whatever, in front of a bunch of people at a festival. But for me, that seems pointless, because the thing about it, getting that, letting people be free to express as they do. People be free to just express. It's your mind playing out. It's my own mind playing out. So I don't want to try to manage people's behaviors. I just don't really move in that direction, I guess. And my mind, let's say my mind doesn't work that way. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's not like someone wants to uh react like that, especially around a bunch of people. It's not like they want to, they can't help it. It's like I taught him how to do that in the first place. See? So it's not, and I know I'm safe and protected in the moment too, because I don't take anything seriously. You might think that this is weird or this is strange, but the only time you get into any trouble is when you take something seriously, or you project a threat, right? Like one of them is, let's say someone's wearing a synthetic aroma and they want to hug you, right? There's some stinky fuckers with this synthetic aroma, and it's going to stick on you because those synthetic aromas, they have something that makes them stick, apparently. Isn't that great? So you got this stinky fucker and he wants to hug you, he or she, whatever. And you're going, what do I do in this situation? Like, what do I say? And how do I let him know? And, you know, just rest. Because the idea that it's threatening, to have their smell on you, for one, the idea that that's a threat, the idea that the synthetic itself can harm you, also taking it as a threat. See? So it's making things into a threat that make it seem difficult to communicate. Like you'll just communicate naturally when you're not taking things as a threat. You don't even have to try to figure it out, you know. But I've told my friends, I know Ekahi's on here right now. I've I've told him, I said, hey, aloha Ekahi. Said, hey, that smells synthetic. I mean, it's not a big deal. but I don't have the thought projecting that it's harmful for me. See, as soon as I pursue a thought that says that this synthetic smell is harmful to me, then I become defensive. And when I'm defensive, that's an energy that people can feel. And it seems like we can't communicate. It makes it seem like we can't communicate. So, it's just defensiveness, right? Gosh, back in the days when I was like in my 20s, when I first met my husband, back in those days, oh my God, if he would have yelled at me in front of a bunch of people like that, I would have fucking went off. I would have had to show that I was the stronger, more forceful, whether there were people there or not, it didn't matter. I always had to show that I was the more powerful energy. But it's like, you're so unhelpful, and I'm like, that's probably right. Probably right. I resemble that remark. And you know, it's funny. I saw how I set him up big time because I was telling my friend that he was gonna be grumpy. Like, and you know, it's kind of like one of my friends tells me that I'm like I think he said it, he called it a heyoka. I forgot what that means, but I remembered the word. And it's something about someone who kind of tricks people, almost like a jester or something like that, you know. And it's like, you know, it's like he gets the perception that I'm supposed to be doing something that I'm not doing, and I'll be in that experience having a totally different kind of experience, not like I'm avoiding him or avoiding my duties or anything like that. I'm just hanging out and having a good time with no thought of needing to do anything, right? So it's like when those two energies meet, it's like, whoa, it's a little bit, it can be a little bit intense. But you know, really the only thing that makes it intense is the thoughts, is the mind. So when I notice the intense energy arise within myself, that's where I stop. I stop first pursuing thoughts. It's like in the stillness, I can listen and I can hear what the truth is. If I start chasing thoughts, then I'm going into basically Babylon world where we're all in conflict, right? Uh, but it's fun how that played out too. After I was like, the day after, I was like, you know what? I know why I feel so much pressure around you. And like I projected it onto him the whole time. It's because I put that pressure on myself. So when there's someone that's seemingly angry at me for not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm welcoming that. I'm welcoming that kind of interaction. And you know, it's like I didn't know I was setting the whole thing up like that, but it sure was a fun ride because all of a sudden everything just kind of like transpires to where I happen to be in a totally different mental state than what I'm expected to be at a certain time. And then it's just like you just play with that. You just play in that energy. Um, Watch for any defensiveness because that's really meaningless. All it's doing is demonstrating the belief that there's something to defend against. It's belief in doership again. You're not doing and not doing anything. Doing or not doing anything. Maybe that's a better way to say it. So when we solidify, concretize that belief, we make it seem so real to us, like we have all this pressure on ourselves. And that's what manifests as like a distorted body. What's a distorted body? It's a painful body. And basically, that's what we've got. We've got painful bodies. And, you know, if our, and, you know, the body itself isn't real, it's a body sense, it's a projection of thinking. The whole world is that though. And the body sense, you can sense it as a felt sensation though. You can't really sense the world as a felt sensation. You could sense the body as a felt sensation. That is where the world is coming from, you can say. This sense that you're getting of the body is like a sounding board projecting the world. Okay, so it is kind of like you're feeling the whole world when you feel the sensed body. So glad you told me about those synthetic herbs. We got to create something all natural and much better. That's Akai. Yeah, thank you, Akai. Yeah, and then it's like, oh, let's get Akai hugs. We always smell so good when he hugs us. It's not like the opposite, like, man, I really love Akai, but God, he smells like shit. What am I supposed to do? No, you never smelled like shit, Akai. You smelled fucking good. It's just that it's synthetic and you know, some people aren't into that. Yeah, I actually don't mind it when people with synthetics hug me. I let them hug me. I notice it doesn't last anyways. It doesn't last for me. I don't know. I guess I'm quick with those aromas. Is it possible that he wanted to make sure sales were done? Is it possible energy was out of love or not? I can get that way with my wife. I realize I can't micromanage her fairiness. Just got to let it be. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, that's what it's kind of like, you know, like I just go off into a different state, almost like a different state. I'm not even in that state anymore. It's like I passed it off and I'm gone. Yeah. No, he wasn't like that. He not about making sure sales were done. That wasn't a thing. Is it possible love the energy? It's all love. It's all love. That's the thing. It is all love, nothing else. It can't be anything else. It can't be anything else. And, you know, even if it seems like, you know, it's like the mind wants to evaluate, okay, was that action out of love or out of fear? It's like, just notice what's motivating, whatever it is right now, the energy right now, what is motivating that, even that thought pattern, because it's so close, it's just within you. There's so much, there's so much mind activity in every moment. It's not really necessary to even look back on the past ones. I mean, gosh, there's so much going on as far as what's coming in to your thought stream in the moment. So it's like, I don't really even ask that question. Was that out of love or no? It's all love to me. The way the way it's perceived is love, and then it's like there's this character on the surface throwing a fit for me, just for me, so I can see through, right? And it's always a lesson for everyone. Like, you know, for the other side of it, the lesson, yes, it's just to allow that person to be as they are. There's always something, you know, some fun that can be had for you if you look for it. You know, it's this narrow, focused minded thing about trying to get to some point. It's again that busy mind that wants to get to the next thing. Okay, it's like the busy mind trying to get to the next thing. That's always what it is. It's like it's hurried, it's not comfortable, and this is all it all just projects. It's hurried, uncomfortable. What is it? It's thinking again. So, and as far as like, for me, I don't mind however long it takes for him to get that, to leave me and let me be in my fairiness, like you say. I don't mind how long it takes him to get that. For me, I just let myself be that as much as I can. I mean, as much as I'm willing, really, in the moment. Just let myself be that, no matter what's being perceived, because it's not up to anyone in the world to let me be as I am. It's up to me. So, you know, I don't even need to see it as a reflection. It's not necessary for me to see it as a reflection that someone's letting me be in my fairiness. That's just how it is. How do you share it with someone in Telegram or Instagram? I think you could just, that's on Facebook. I think you could just grab the link from the top and just put it in there. But you have to get to the actual video. I don't know. Maybe do it right there on the page. Wisdom Dialogues Online. Oh, and then there's that. Oh, thank you, Constance. I appreciate you. It's funny because we're always waiting for someone to give us permission to be free, right? That's kind of like how it is with the government too. It's like someone's going to give you permission. If you want to open a business or something, you got to go get a license. You get permission to be free. See, these are symbols though. These are just symbolic. These don't matter. So get a license, don't get a license, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. All right. It's just a symbol. It's a symbol of how you think you need other people's permission to be how you are. That's all. And so the government is a reflection of the collective. The collective is obviously in fear. Okay. What is the collective? Where does the collective come from? Your mind. Who's going to save the collective from this? You. You are. Because you're dreaming. The collective is also in a dream. You're dreaming of the collective. Okay. When you have a government that is trying to make vaccines mandatory, I think in a lot of ways they did make it mandatory for a lot of people, apparently. But none of that's real. It's not like a threat or anything. It's a symbol. Look, you're afraid. Okay, you're afraid you're gonna get this thing. Take this poison to protect you from it. Right? And then people find out, oh shit, did I screw up by taking that poison? Is now other shit not gonna work? Because I took that poison. That it's just symbolic. You're gonna get played. You're gonna get played if you don't see what the game is that's going on here. It's like when you wake up to the fact that the world is all set up to serve the ego, then it's different for you. It's all love. It's all a blessing. You don't have to go along with the rules that are set for you in the world. We use other people to prop that stuff up. We use other people in the world and the world to prop up these apparent rules about how we should be. And that causes us to live in a sense of constriction, dread even. To have to live by these expectations. I'm angry with you because you did this. It makes no sense. I know that's weird or strange for people to hear this, but it actually makes no sense. Saw one friend sharing on Facebook about how her ex's new lover reached out to her and said she wants her blessing and respect. Right? And that, triggered her so much. Like, why should I have to do that? Why I don't, I don't want that. And, it was a trip because when I saw it, I was like, that is an interesting one, because here's this person asking you for exactly what you need. When someone, they just come up and ask you. I don't get people asking me for that. Maybe because they aren't automatically have it and they know it. I never get people asking me for my respect. I don't know. Or blessing. I mean, it's just like, that's just automatic. And I'm like, wow. And then, just picture it. Someone is coming and asking you for exactly what you need because you've withheld your blessing and respect from all of your brothers and sisters by painting them as bodies who can do things autonomously in your world and victimize you, right? So someone's asking you for the blessing and respect. It's like, man, just a little bit of willingness toward that. And, people are asking over and over again, but don't want to know the answer for the most part. That's what I sense. Of course, that's my mind, so I'll just like be patient until everyone softens up as a result of my softening up, right? Uh, but it seems like, quite a few of them don't really want the answer. They would rather hold on to the sense that someone has wronged them. Somehow it feels so good to get all triggered in the middle of the night that people would want to hold on to the idea that someone's doing something wrong, someone's inappropriate, right? If you want to hold on to that idea, yeah, it's going to be hurtful. It's going to feel hurtful. And it just spirals out and makes more and more of a sense of victimization. The sense of victimization just grows in that way. Or it's so simple and quick to be released from a pattern. If you're willing to give that love, respect, blessing, wherever it's asked, even if it's not asked, you're going to feel so free. Can you imagine the weight being lifted off of yourself? And in that, teaching everyone how to be free just by your being, right? Let's see what we have here, Niall. As I get close to living in this new thought form, I find myself not being able to explain money, time, death, sickness is not real. How do you explain it without looking like a lunatic? Well, I don't know. Is your goal to not look like a lunatic? Really? But the thing is, you don't have to concern yourself with any of that, how to explain anything. You don't have to even concern yourself with that. Because if you find yourself in a situation where someone is there and you feel like you need to explain it but don't know how, just be light with it. Just laugh about it. And let the voice just be spoken through you just naturally. Just let everything be really light and joyful around it. You don't know in the moment, maybe the words aren't coming to you out. Maybe you'll be like, I don't know how to explain it. I just know it. I don't know how to explain this. I just know it. I don't have to explain it. Right? I really don't have to explain it. All those things, money, time, death, sickness, they're part of that sensory experience. They're guaranteed to be in the sensory, you're welcome, in the sensory experience. Okay. They follow particular rules that you made. They're rules to enslave you. Every time you get a perception of one of those things, notice the feeling. Your resistance to that feeling is how you enslave yourself. Your resistance to that feeling is what makes those things real to you, which basically makes them real because your mind is real powerful, but they're not actually real. Real to you, but not real. Seeming to have effects on you, but having no effects on you. Okay. And the more you resist your feelings around those things, the more real they become and the more they seem to affect you. Now, you can also take that the other way. And look at this. You're always moving in one way or the other way. You're always moving to make those things more real or deny reality to them. You're never stagnant anytime it crosses your mind. That's how the thought's not so neutral then, is it? Anytime it crosses your mind, you're either taking it in one direction or you're leaving it. and you're going in another direction. You don't have to take that thought. It's like a train. You don't have to ride on it, right? You notice and embrace the feeling. It's the resistance to the feeling that has you grabbing all these trains. It's making you busy, going on all these different trains of thoughts. Resistance to feeling. Ah, yay. Yay. I love you too. Ah, aloha, Margaret. You're on a trip with your mama. Hip surgery. Okay. And carrying the message, all to pass through, feeling feels, to be in the real, full of unreal. Yay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate being on your mind. I feel so blessed. Okay, we're all good over on Facebook. Everyone's up to date. You know, some of my friends seem to deal with bodies that barely function anymore. Reduced range of motion, organs that don't work properly, things like this. Now, I know from experience that a lot of people who follow spiritual practices and go down the spiritual path and stuff kind of cut off the body sense. Because the body isn't real. You realize the body isn't real. So there's kind of this cutting off. And I think that's what you would call spiritual bypass, really, in the real sense. It's like you're cutting off that which is being a source of information for you, or guidance, you could say. It's kind of being a source of guidance for you. So it's reacting to emotions instead of embracing emotions. We become reactive when we just resist, because there's pain being projected in the body sense. And when we're resisting it, we're projecting. So I have friends who have worked really hard, you could say, in the spiritual sense, by going through these spiritual practices day in and day out, sometimes spending hours and things like that, and wondering why they can't get along with a family member, for instance. Wondering why things are bothering them still, and it seems like a missing component for people is that body sense. This is a real source of information. Like, you can feel with your attention, and it takes focus for this, because we're trained to go away from the body sense and into mental trains. Okay, mental trains of thought. And whenever we do that, we're hardening things in the body sense, covering things up so that we don't feel the pain directly. There's so much pain going on in the body sense, where if you were to feel it all at once, you would kill yourself. In the dream, anyway. You would withdraw your energy from that. Okay. So there's a lot going on as far as information coming from the body sense. Remember, it's a sensed experience to the mind. So whenever you're having any kind of thought that's upsetting or anything like that, there is a visceral sensation going on in the body sense. Now, one thing that gives people upset, and people don't like to admit it, for some reason it seems vain to people. Okay, people don't want to admit it. When they get the signs of aging, that's one thing where it makes you want to you want to cover it up. You want to cover that thought up. It's painful. When you start to perceive that, it's like a warm up to death. That's why it should be painful, because that's not how you are. You're eternal. You don't die. So you start getting the signs of aging. Maybe it's on yourself, maybe it's on another person. You can see the signs of aging on another person. That could distress you too. And maybe you see the signs of aging on your dog, and that distresses you. You start seeing red, the gray hair and stuff. It's like, oh, he's not going to be around very much longer, right? So the key is to notice how there's an impact on you every time it crosses your mind. And the aging thing, death, money, sickness, all those things that Niall mentioned, any of those things cross your mind, noticing how that feels in your body's energy field and being willing to be released from it. It's like there's a really mental way. It is, and it's all in the mind. It is all in the mind. And there's a really mental practice, especially A Course in Miracles, the way it's set out, it's a very mental practice. But I also see how it's related to the body sense. And, it's talked about a lot in there, actually, about how you feel. A lot of how we feel is covered up. It's programs. I don't even know how we fucking feel. It's like, and the answer is always so simple. And the truth is always being spoken to you when you just quiet down. You can hear it. It's always there. I mean, look at, for me, my mind might ask, why am I, or why is that person being like that to me? And how do I heal that? And the thought is that you want to heal it in a way where you make that person act a different way toward you. That's not the goal. That's, again, it's kind of like you're trying to manipulate something in the world. You just want to use that feeling to be released from the thought that projects it. You have to use the feeling for that, though. It's really, everything that you get a perception of is first projected in the body sense. So awareness of the body sense is going to translate to awareness of who you are. Because anytime there's an upset feeling and you're willing to be released from it, that's different from your patterning. Your patterning is there's an upset feeling and you run off in thoughts to try to fix something so you can get out of that upset feeling. You're going to figure out how to get out of it. Okay. It's just conditioning. It's not like, anything personal. Just conditioning. We all got it. Okay, Margaret, you're coming on. I'm allowing you to talk. Yay.
Oh gosh. You're killing me right now. I just can't even believe it. I just felt like every word you just said hit me perfectly.
Yay. Oh. I'm so happy about that.
So yeah, I'm standing in a bathroom with the fan going. My mom just went to bed, so here we are in an Airbnb in Calgary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the state of being.
Airbnb in Calgary.
Yeah, that's how I label it right now.
How are you feeling over there?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a hard one to answer, the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt to be expressed by the expression of me.
To be expressed by the expression of you.
Well, anything that would come out, somebody would sense it as a feeling, or I would feel it. as it came out, but there was no definition of it as you would ask for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I do.
Who
So
is that you ask for? Oh,
so so you're so those feelings, they're just jumping around on the surface. And then beneath that, do you know that it's all okay? All is well?
100%.
Yay. You
Yeah,
got
girl.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
because
a
all that stuff
100%
like
situation right
nothing.
here, babe.
Yeah, all that stuff's like nothing. It's a storm, a mental
Right.
storm.
Right. So when you asked me that question, I wanted to say, well, damn, I'm excited to be talking to you.
Well, thank you. That's a fun way to feel.
Yeah. I felt my heart racing.
Oh, yay.
And I'm sitting in a bathtub and my life has been so crazy and different. And I just love to express who I am. And I think I've been missing Hawaii and I've been missing you guys. And
Well,
the island.
you don't really miss.
Yes, and I know we don't miss.
Yeah, you don't really miss. So that's also a feeling. Right? A feeling that you can see through if you choose to see through it.
That's right. There's
Would
more of
you?
a fondness.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
There's a guided direction towards.
Yay.
Yeah, everything's turning towards you guys and I'm feeling it and I'm sensing my love for and towards.
That feels
a beautiful thing. Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You see how tricky the ego is. That miss thing. I hear it all the time. People often tell me they miss me.
The language, the spells that we're creating.
They're spells.
Our words.
Exactly. They're like spells. That one is so common. It's almost like I'm offended if you don't miss me.
Oh my gosh. I feel you every time I say that. That's funny. I do it for us. I dance for us. I move this way, you move that way. I love you, sister. I just appreciate so much that you keep coming on. And
oh, I love you. Thank you. I'm excited to see you and hug you in Hawaii.
You might get to hug my parents first.
All right.
And my nieces. Yes.
Sounds
Hopefully.
good to me.
Yeah. So my question for Hope.
Yes, my love.
I must have a question here today, and it's this illusion that we create to exist in. Gosh, why so? Why so sometimes?
Well, it's just made up. Nothing exists in it. It's really nothing. What we're getting a perception of is only a body sense, remember. And the mind can't handle this guilty thought. It doesn't fit in with reality. It's like it doesn't.
It bounces, hey?
Yeah, let's say it's like that. It bounces
Like
and
a
goes
trampoline
out.
when you hit that thought.
Right. And we're all trying to project guilt into the bodies around us when we're, I can't say it's like that anymore for me, but I know what the conditioning is.
I do experience some of it, I would say.
Yeah, where it's like we want to make someone or something responsible.
Guilty. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
You are guilty. And I watch it happening to me and I'm laughing like, well, of course we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even someone in your field who seems to think that you have acted inappropriately. It's all like, oh, what a blessing. Right?
Yeah.
You can be laughing about that. You can be laughing about everything. Just remember, you never have to be serious. And if you get serious, you can go back the other way. It's like
That's
you're
true.
only discharged.
Yeah,
Nah.
that is.
Constance said for the show, drama, and comedy. She says it's for the show, drama, and comedy. Yeah, I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's definitely a fun part. That's a fun part of it, but we wouldn't do it just for that. It's not that bitching compared to reality.
Yeah. It's the container too. It's the container being shown. Sometimes some people take on more for the outside walls.
Yeah, well, we need to see it outside of ourselves, what we're afraid to look on. And whatever we're afraid to look on is what's making pain in the body sense.
Yeah.
It's all the pain is upheld by thought. It's not even a reality.
Yeah. So it's not even real that my mom's getting hip surgery tomorrow. No, she's not.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna drop her off and I'm gonna pick her up and
yeah, and apparently she'll have had hip surgery, and there's going to be probably some apparent care steps that you take with hip surgery that'll just play out on their own that no one has to do, right? The
it does
illusion
get a little funnier when you say it like that.
yeah, exactly. That's how everything is. That's why, like when Tony had staff and he was like down for all those months and stuff, and it was just like, well, what's the problem here? Like, really, you're not doing anything. It's a feeling journey. Your goal is to see through the illusion. So who cares? Like, none of this stuff is really hard. We're just making it up.
Yeah, it's true.
We're making it hard on ourselves.
That's true. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I love you, Hope.
I love you. Thank you for joining.
I'm gonna escape and just allow the rest of this to unfold. So thank you so much for allowing me to come on.
Thank you for coming on. I love you. Ahui ho.
Ahui ho.
Okay, now Elle, let's see what he has going now. Going on Margaret's question, how do we not get discouraged on getting caught up? It took you a while to get to where you're at. What hope for some of us very indoctrined? Oh, well, it only takes a while because of stubbornness. And as each one of us goes through our challenges, you can say, our ego veils, you could say, it makes it easier for everyone else. Also, don't worry about the time that it takes. Time is an illusion and can be used by the Holy Spirit for teaching. That's all it's for. Time can things can go very fast in time at certain points and seem to go very slow at time in time at certain points. That's just how it goes. If you just pay attention to being joyful, letting yourself be happy and go along for the ride, it goes easier and faster without your having to do anything. So getting discouraged is also an attack. You know that, I think. Feeling discouraged is an attack in itself. So if you're willing, you could be released from feeling discouraged. If you're not willing, you will follow thoughts that will project discouragement for you. It's always a choice all the time. Even when you're already caught, you got a choice. Okay? We're all very indoctrinated, and the world crops up for me too. Like, Hope, you did it wrong. Hope, what are they gonna think? I love that one. There isn't anyone there. Oh, that just goes away. What if they don't like you? What if they don't like your talks? Then I won't be doing the talks. That just goes away. Nothing that we get a sense of in this world really matters, but it seems to matter to you. And that's because of meaning that you gave to it. When it seems to matter to you, you make it matter to you. You put a burden on yourself and make suffering. There's never any reason that you should be suffering. It does not matter what the circumstance of the world is showing. And by the way, circumstances of the world can change in an instant. So we don't need to hold them to what they seem to be. I was telling one of my friends who has alopecia, apparently. I mean, that's a name for it. She is missing hair in a bunch of places on her head. And and I think I said something, just in case you're still bald at this age. I don't know how I worded it or whatever. She's like, "Oh, I'm still gonna be bald." And I'm like, "You don't know that." She's like, "Well, I'm pretty sure that I am." And I said, "Well, look, if you're so sure about that, then you're closing the door. If you're so sure, it's like you're closing yourself off to opportunities to see anything different. Like anything can be changed at any time. Just in leaving that open for everyone. It's like it's not downhill from here, like the way we're presented. You know, doctors telling people, no, there's nothing we can do. You're just going to die. Here you go. Take a bunch of these pills and go ahead and die. And then people believe that it means nothing. It's a total spell. The ego has made rules for how this thing goes. And we seem to exist in it because we've forgotten who we are. That's the only reason we seem to exist in this dream. We've only just forgotten who we are. So this is a journey of remembrance. It's a beautiful journey of remembrance. And you could say we chose to forget so we could learn how to see. We forgot how to see our innocence because we took on a thought that said we're guilty. So now to try to run away from that guilt, we're projecting a guilty world that's being punished for its guilt. And we seem to be part of it. Now there seem to be enemies. You know, some of you have an ex. I get this one a lot. The ex with, can they have kids involved? And the ex is just such a hassle. That ex is just such a hassle at the courthouse. You know, if you would be willing to have a different interpretation of that ex and what they're doing, everything changes for you. It becomes just as magical as a stroll down a beautiful beach. Going to that courthouse and meeting your ex and seeing the light through this seemingly dark play of suspicion and control, all these grippy Babylonian things, right? And it's like, if you would be willing to see the innocence, and that's what I see from talking to people, they kind of like shut off. They would not be willing. They would not be willing to even offer that person any respect, much less see their innocence, right? But it's like you have to be willing to give the gift, which is actually, you're the recipient of the gift. It's just a facade that they would get the gift. But that's a facade, right? Say they treated you so bad. Well, first they set you up because, you know, you had this bitchin' place to live and they said, oh, I love you. You're my one and only. And come on, forget about that place. Come live with me. Live with them for a little while. Next thing you know, they can't fucking stand you anymore. Now they're kicking you out. You're out in the street. You don't have your old place. You don't have your new place. It feels like a very victimized thing, right? That is right where that blessing, respect, love, forgiveness, whatever you want to call it, that is the moment where you're getting an opportunity. When you feel like someone has victimized you, acted inappropriately toward you, and when it seems like now they've ruined your life, that is the moment where gratitude can heal your mind. You could save so much time by taking one of those and looking at it a little bit different. Yay, it seems like they really fucked me over. This is fucking awesome. See, the thing people are afraid of is if you go, yay, it really seems like they fucked me over. This is fucking awesome. That you're going to get so much more of that. It's not like that at all. You're not going to be afraid of it. You're going to actually perceive it less, perceive that kind of stuff less. You're not afraid of it. And if you do get the perception of it, you're stoked. You know, if you're walking around afraid of particular manifestations taking place, you know, it's like, what's the freedom in that? That's what I mean. Like the mind is not free. Being afraid of particular manifestations, being afraid of how a particular person might act, for instance. Being afraid of someone dying, for instance. Look, when you're in fear, you're going to be motivated toward things that seem to hurt you. That's how it goes. Seems to do you harm. You're in fear. Look at when someone's stressing out and they're stress eating. Look at that one. That's a really fun symbol. They're eating, they're stuffing everything, right? The food can't really do anything to them. It doesn't really have any effect, but the fear is being taken as real. So in that, the food does seem to have an effect, right? So this is what I mean about, some of my friends that are cutting off the body sense. It's like there's all this fear going on that's being covered up with this happy, happy joy thing on the surface. See, there's a surface, they can have, surface joy, but there's tension underneath, and that's from not feeling. See, and you can see, the sense of not joy that pops up every day. That's why people don't feel like they're free. And you can, it'll pop up like a wave. Well, I went into suffering again, I'll pop up like a wave. And as you're going into suffering, you're not noticing the source of that. Where's that first manifestation? Where is it hitting? You can see it moving. If you look with your inner eyes, you can see it moving in the body's energy field. I'm sure you guys have felt intense things, but a lot of the times when we feel the intensity, we're running away. So that's the point, is to stay with it. Stay with the body intensity so things don't go cold. One of my friends was telling me who, recently apparently had a heart attack. He was telling me he noticed it feels cold in his heart. And the cold is a really good symbol because that's what's going on. It's like we're taking life out of it. It's like we're taking life completely out of the equation. And the body sense is symbolic of that. It's not getting the circulation, the spiritual energy circulating through the mind. The body sense is showing you that you're blocking pain. You're blocking fearful thoughts, not letting them flow. Okay? To flow doesn't mean to follow. That doesn't mean to follow it. You're going to let it flow, meaning you're embracing the body sense, the feeling sense. And the funny thing is, it also just allows for a more painless, maybe less painful, painless. If your mind is completely guilt free, you can have no pain in the body. So can you imagine, you could use your body, any kind of exercise you do for your body, any kind of food you eat or anything like that, and you can use it different. Imagine using your body as an instrument for awakening your mind, like a sensitive instrument for awakening your mind, instead of trying to use it for what your mind thinks it wants in the world. See? The body is a means for the mind's awakening. Okay, the ego turns it around and tries to make the mind a means for a body getting what it wants in the world. When it's turned around like that, things are confused. Pain accumulates, aging occurs, death comes on. Okay, all that is pain that has not been integrated. Let's call it integrated. Okay, there is no real pain. That is reflecting fear. That's where I am right now. Sufferer joy is from Amy. I've been staying with it, but it looks ugly. It looks ugly. Yeah, I know what you mean. You see this darkness, and uh, initially you don't want to know that about yourself. Like the way that you think, the thoughts that you've been pursuing. Let's just say you're not thinking when you're pursuing ego thoughts. There's nothing to feel guilty about, but it can be scary and dark in there. I know. But if you're not sensing through that scariness, through that darkness in there, if you're not sensing there that you're being guided, that you're being supported and you're being guided, and feel hopeful within that, that's because you're projecting doubt. The only reason you're projecting doubt. So, even if you're getting the sense that, oh, I'm suffering, it's like, if it's not exciting to you, it's because you're projecting doubt. Because even in the suffering, you're being given an opportunity right there to see through. But if you take it like you can't do it, then there's going to be doubt around that. And that makes you fearful that you won't be able to do it. And it kind of like suffers, it's just like the suffering just kind of like wraps around and wraps around. But, Amy, anytime you're getting the sense that you're suffering, you can just be released from that suffering by not pursuing any more thoughts. It really is that simple. Like if you just watch what's making you suffer, watch it. Watch how the body reaction to a thought is instantaneous, and it's the first reaction you're getting. So it's like there can't be any suffering without thinking. And there is no reason you cannot get released from a thought in this moment. Just like right now, be released from a thought. There's no reason why you can't. It's not something that has any reality. It's just something that you're projecting. For some reason, my thing is going off here, like my whole screen is going dark. Very interesting. And it looks like it has batteries, but I cannot barely see anything. Let me see if I turn my, oh, weird. It's back. Yay. I just had to turn the light up. I don't know how it got down. Why are there community standards here? Facebook? What is it doing? Okay. I'm not gonna concern myself with any of that shit. I may already be violating standards. It's okay. There's no reason why anyone has to suffer over any illusion, and it's all illusions, and that includes death. You know, I got a couple friends right now that are dealing with family members that seem to be like maybe moving towards death. I don't know, maybe it seems like that's like the vibe, you know. People get scared about that. And this is not a scary thing at all. This is not really a scary thing. We made it scary. You know, if you were more in your right mind, you would find it way more scary to be born in this thing than to die. Coming in to it, that's where all the challenges are coming up ahead. You're going to take yourself to be a body that's mortal. Now you got it coming in. You got it go coming for you, right? Really, no matter what, as long as you're pursuing thoughts, you have the ego chasing you. It doesn't matter if you die, you're just going to come right back. The ego is chasing you lifetime, 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 lifetime. And you're not even really coming back anywhere. You're just projecting back into an imaginary world. Okay. The idea that you're going to miss them. There's that. I'm going to miss them. Great. That's an opportunity. Right? That's an opportunity. If I get the sense that I miss someone or something, immediately I deny meaning to that. It is not true. The ego misses. I don't miss. I do not miss. I let myself get relief from that instead of validating that thought, like as if I'm capable of missing, as if I'm suffering because a body isn't here. Can't be so. My last talk, which was on Friday, which I'm going to call Divine Intersections. I was sharing the idea, I sharing a bunch on the idea how we intersect always at the perfect time. So what would be missing if we're always intersecting at the perfect time? Whoever's in front of me is perfect for me. I'm excited to meet them. I'm excited to join with them in awakening our mind. That's what we're doing. That's all we're doing. Okay, I'm getting some comments here now. This is about Chris. Thank you, Chris. I am repeatedly guided into a place within myself. I don't know what is locked up in there, what emotions, but I see myself in a dream attacking anyone that tries to help me heal this space. How do I stop doing this? Well, you're very protective of that space. That's really sweet. Be light with it. That's, number one, be light with it. The answer is always coming from your inner guide. Okay. It might appear to come from outside of yourself, but then in that case, you'll just know. All right. So being light about everything. It's cute. It's how the ego plays out. It's guarding and protecting that thought, that guilty thought. And so you can tell that stuff is like, locked in there, like you say. It's like locked, it's behind layers. And you're going to see through to the extent that you're willing, actually. And there might be things in the world that you might find yourself using as means for unlocking those things. And that's lovely too. It's always coming from your mind, and you use those things to give yourself permission to unlock these things. So all that stuff is fine, and you never know what it's going to be. Something can just flow to you, right? Something can just pop up and flow to you if that's the case. Or you could just see yourself in a dream, noticing that you're attacking. you're attacking yourself. I went through some periods where I wasn't having it in nighttime dreams, but it's really the same thing because it's all dreamy. But I would just notice an image of myself whenever I would feel like someone was doing something bad to me. I would always project that kind of stuff onto my family, both the family that I made with my husband and my family with my mom and all those guys. Make it like someone did something to me and I'm feeling victimized about it. In fact, not too long ago, I was having the sense that people in my family weren't giving enough support to me. And I was like, wow, what an interesting way to see. And I can see how it's like I'm punching. So it's like I'm fighting something. It's like I'm punching and I'm like wanna uh I want to mess something up for not being the way they should have been to me, for not serving their function. And it's like all I have to do is ask to be released from that. And then I'm not fighting anymore. I'm loving, I'm grateful that I got that for that perception, but I don't make it about that they did something that was against me. So it's pointing to how you're engaging in the world. And it's really wonderful. Of course, I bet you know that it's wonderful that you're getting those dreams because it's showing you how you're interacting mentally with certain people in the world, maybe even certain circumstances in the world. So it's showing you how you're interacting. Like if you could see an image, how you're interacting, it's way different from what you perceive on the surface. There's so much fighting going on that we don't see on the surface. We don't get a perception of it on the surface, but there's so much fighting because there's all this projecting as if something is threatening. So it's kind of like we're like this whenever we're triggered, we're fighting. Notice the posture when you get triggered. You can go look in the mirror. Maybe even in your dream, you'll find yourself looking in the mirror. So the goal isn't to try to get it so that you have more peaceful dreams, okay? That's really an effect. Having the peaceful dreams, it's an effect of you as you being willing to get a different interpretation. So even if you see those dreams as something that is harmful to you or something that's bad, to ask for a different interpretation within that, because remember, it's all a blessing. So to stop doing anything that you want to stop doing is to embrace that doing, to get it to where that doing and your resistance to what you're doing just becomes part of the show. Okay, because it's like, who's watching the doing plus the resistance to the doing? See, everyone has things that the ego tells them they don't want to be doing. There's nothing that the spirit is telling you you don't want to be doing. That's not the way the spirit thinks, okay? That's not the way your guide thinks. That the guide doesn't think in those terms, like you need to stop doing this. The only reason you're getting a perception that you're doing it is because it's maximally healing for your mind. Okay, so the more you can lean into that and get the lessons that are coming through it, the quicker and easier it'll be to move to where that's not necessary for you anymore. Okay, so thank you. Let me know if you have any more questions about that. All right, there's Christine. Looking like I have lost all the things that I own. Hooray! Yay! And that my mother was the one that did it. Yes. Yay. What a wonderful mother. I know it is story and there is a big emotional charge coming and going like big waves. I could use a bit of help. Oh, you're such a love. Yeah, well, your mom is giving you the greatest gift. That is really wonderful. It seems like your mother took everything you owned. Great. Because what's going on with all these waves? It's like your mom did this to you. I don't know what the thoughts are. Look, now you're Now you're broke, whatever. The ego's just chatting it up, right? And that's what's making it like big waves. It's the ego's chatter that's making it like big waves. This can all smooth out, be a nice calm lake when you're just light with the ego's chatter. It means nothing at all. In fact, whatever perception you're getting is so beneficial to you. It's worth way more money than your mom seems like she stole from you. It's a bargain. it's, it's a good bargain. Thank you, mama. Thank you. Yeah, I had the perception before my mom took my daughter from me, or actually had my daughter taken from me. I had the perception my mom had my daughter taken from me by social services. She told them all kinds of things about me, and then they just came over to my house and picked up my daughter and kept her for like a month after that. And so, man, I know this kind of pain because I was like on the floor and I was screaming in a really weird scream. I just couldn't believe that my mom would do something like that. I could believe that she would do that to me. To me, that's the big thing. So I went a while. I was really young. I was maybe like 21, 22. I don't know. And I went for a while without talking to my mom out after that. It was like, and after the 30 days, they kept her, they go, you know what? Yeah, we kept an eye on you this whole time and you're okay. It seems like your mom actually needs some help. Yeah. All right, just give me my daughter back. I'll be on my way now. you know, uh, and it was like so hard for me, because I thought that she really did that to me and like it was a bad thing. What I didn't see for a very long time was how wonderful and healing the whole experience was, even though I didn't know how to use it at that time. It's like I knew how to use it later, you know. That was one of the things that was majorly healed in 2014. By that time my daughter's, I don't know how old, she's born in 92. So um so it's many years later, but I was still carrying the wound about it, right? So it wasn't until it came up as like a deep-seated upset where I was able to see it because I was sitting in silence for a long time. I was sitting in silence. These are the two things that I think kind of like it have gone together. Silence plus pain. Not excruciating. Well, I guess it's kind of excruciating. I was sitting in Vipassana with my legs crossed. They tell you in Vipassana, it doesn't matter what pain you feel, it's not coming from sitting cross-legged. It's not coming from sitting here. It's coming from your mind. And by the way, you're 100% safe to sit here. No matter what pain you go through, nothing bad is going to happen to you. You're not going to cut off your circulation. Your legs aren't going to fall off. Nothing bad can happen to you here. You're just being asked to sit through it, right? So when I'm sitting through my pain like that, it reveals it to me what is actually causing the pain, because I'm feeling pain in my back, my hips, all over the place, and I'm sure I know, like I've already done the research, I've already done the spiritual practice, I've already seen for myself. I'm definitely projecting the pain, no matter what it looks like here, like it's coming from my body sitting in cross-legged position. No matter what it looks like, I'm projecting it. So in that case, I was willing to sit through it. And when I saw that my mom was not outside of me, there is just instantaneous forgiveness and almost like unbelievable how I made her like that. It's amazing. And you can get the insight and see how you're making these things and how you're making them to attack yourself. Before coming to Hawaii, this is the same person. Before coming to Hawaii, I cleared out my storage unit and was making this place my home. And then the hurricane came and the place was flooded. But there was many, many things could have been saved. Mom told the contractors to throw everything away, everything, my whole life accumulation of stuff, even all of your oils. Oh, wow. Nice. Lots of pain come. Oh, nice. What a blessing. Because you see, this stuff has no value. Yeah, she is inside of you. And you see how these things that seem to have been thrown away by your mom have no value. And your mom, she's everything to you. She's your savior, you could say. She's the one who's coming to you in your name right now, asking for her forgiveness. Not the oils. The mom is going to hell. Oh, God, not hell. That is awesome. You don't throw essential oils out. I know you are. I know you're kidding. You don't throw essential oils out. That's not how you do it. If anything, keep the little bottles of essential oils. My goodness. Everything, your whole life accumulation. I love that. I love the way you put it, because your whole life accumulation of stuff. And you know, the more we're accumulating stuff, the more we're killing ourselves, right? The key is to not accumulate. Not accumulate is the same thing as not attached. That means that stuff can come and go, and you're not tripping balls whenever it comes and goes. That reminds me of one time I had this crown. It was so funny. I was like seeing way less than I am right now, but it was after I moved to Hawaii. And it was such a good lesson for me, because I went to a festival on Maui, and someone had these crowns, and I was all into being a goddess in that time. I was all into it, like just wanted to dress like a goddess and be a goddess, right? And so, and I called all the other women I saw goddesses too, you know. And so I got this crown at this booth, and you know, I was a little bit older than the other women that were at the booth, who thought that $80 was a lot of money for a crown, right? And I was just kind of like, shit, I'll buy that thing for $80, no problem. I buy it, and all of a sudden I'm attached to it. I get attached to it. It's my crown. It's really pretty. It was a purple, had a little some kind of purple stone right in the middle. It was really pretty. And then I'm looking all over for it one day, because I want to wear it to the dance. And then I'm like, asked my husband, Tony, did you see that crown? And he's like, oh yeah, I told Akea, that's my daughter. She's on. Hi, Akea. I told Akea she could wear it. Oh my fucking God. Was I lit. So freaking pissed. I was pissed at him. I was pissed at her. I couldn't believe that someone would have the gall to desecrate my crown like that by wearing it when it's not on it should be on my head and no other head. You don't even remember this crown. That's awesome. Okay. I love it. It's okay. You don't have to. I don't think I even talked to you about it actually, okay, because I was learning a lot right there. And I think I was mostly like letting the steam off on your dad. Like, how could you fucking let her? I know. Desecrate. It's going to desecrate my crown. And how could you? And you know, that just goes to the kind of patterns that we were playing too, okay? Where, you know, you were just kind of like this person who could get in my way, could do things that, yeah, I'm sure I felt it. Yeah, yeah. Who can do things to disrupt my flow, right? It's like all of a sudden here she is, now she's wearing my crown. Chris, you're having a hard time formulating questions. So, you know, just rest, because I'll be back next week for one. And in the meantime, I don't mind doing one-on-ones. That's fine too. If you come up with it and it's like, I really feel like it would be productive to talk to you right now, you know? But when you're listening to wisdom dialogues, just see if you could just like relax. Because a lot of questions are going to come up and kind of like be distraction. So when you're listening, kind of let yourself rest. A lot of the times I'm sharing concepts that are even new to me. Okay. So all we're doing is like planting seeds, right? And those questions, they'll just pop up at some point and be really clear. It'll be perfect. Dad still has that for me, or at least 2 years ago he did. Okay, well, let's see how it goes. You're gonna know, because it's like we feel each other, right? We feel each other. That's why when someone tells me, hey, I feel like this around you, it's like, oh, thanks for letting me know, because that's a mirror reflection for me. That's all it is. And it doesn't necessarily, like, I don't dissect it and stuff. The answer is just shown to me because I allow myself to be quiet. I don't try to figure shit out on my own. See? You think he does that to everyone in the house. Can you give me a little bit more of an idea of what that is, okay? That he does to everyone in the house? So much stuff, so little time. Oh, aloha, Crunchy. I love you. I know you changed your name back to Sean, but it's going to take me a minute to let go of Crunchy. Maybe I'm attached. Everyone fucking up his vibe. Yes, that is awesome. And remember, that's coming from our mind too. So it's wonderful opportunity. It's a really wonderful opportunity to see that that's not really possible, and also that it's only love, to see that it's only love, not to make him see, right? To see that this is only love and this is just a facade that you're messing up someone's vibe. You do it too all the time to Kana. Very nice. Just pass it on down the line. And what's great about this is you just laugh at yourself, right? You see it. It's just patterns passing down. Oh, I had that so strongly when I was younger. My kids were fucking up my vibe. And not even that young. I was doing that in my 40s, right? Like my kids could be fucking up my vibe. That was hard, man. So such a blessing to see through. So if you're struggling with anything like that, know that there is light at the end of this tunnel. This kind of hope where you're hoping to see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's very productive. Okay? Because when you're hoping to see the light at the end of the tunnel, you're getting help from your guide. That's how you get help from your guide. When you're hoping for, let's say, $1 million, you're getting help from the ego, right? When you're hoping for anything to go your way, someone to come and be in your life, anything to go your way, you're hoping with the ego. When you're hoping to see the light, when you're hoping to awaken your mind, when you're hoping that it's only a choice that you're making to make your suffering, you are hoping with the spirit. This is like a true kind of hope, because it actually leads to what you really want instead of its opposite. If I'm feeling a one-on-one, how do I contact you? Well, you can email me, hopejohnson@me.com. I have Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you can contact me there. Telegram, text. Here, I'll give you, I'm just going to put it in the text, 937, 808-937-8440. You can text me there, and then we can set a time. Also, there is email hopejohnson@me.com. There, those should be plenty. And then if you know me on Facebook or you Instagram, I kind of suck. In fact, it just occurred to me right now that I may not have answered a customer from a week ago on Instagram. So don't get me there. I seem to not be good at responding on Instagram. Okay. Okay, whenever I think of dad and how rigid he is, I get an image of me doing it. Isn't that perfect? Isn't that lovely? 'Cause then you can see past like this supposed dude outside of yourself, and he's a great example because he's such a loving dude, and he's also really, yeah, he's rigid with himself. That's all. We're just getting a perception. See, the illusion is taking it like he's being rigid with us. Even if you're a kid, you're doing it. Even if you're a kid, you're actually doing it. You believe in it, right? Anyone who's being rigid with you, they don't really mean it. They're kidding. They're just kidding. I would see my boss when I worked in a law firm. I would see my boss dancing around the office. He'd be so mad. Like he'd do a mad dance instead of a happy dance. He'd do a mad dance. He'd be making these crazy faces. It sometimes looked like he was playing an air guitar, but I don't know that's not what he was trying to do. I would just look at that and I would feel like he's kidding. And it wouldn't be a thing that had an effect on me. The people around my office would be walking on eggshells trying not to disturb him, trying to avoid that. Like, no, I want that to happen. That's entertainment. That's good stuff. I'm not going to answer any questions while you're under that spell. I'm not going to answer any questions about work while you're under that spell. You're going to go out, get over that first, then come back and talk to me. But it's fine if you do the little production in front of me. That's cool. And it's all like this show, like fear me, right? And it's not really coming from that person. It's coming from the ego, which you're using this to project this so you could see through this, so you could see that they are kidding when they're trying to make it look really real for you because that's what you want. You want them to try to make it look really real. They're kidding. You buy into the energy. Hope, what are you doing over there having tea? You're supposed to be helping. Those weren't the exact words. I don't remember what it was. You're not being helpful. The funny thing is, I go over there and think I'm being helpful. I am in a way because I'm a trickster, right? Grab some coconuts that people actually want and go throw them away. That's how I help the scene. Similar to my man used to think that he wanted me to garden with him. And then he showed me this spot and he told me to get all the weeds out of that spot. So what I did was get the actual plant out because the weed looked so pretty to me that it looked like it was the plant. So I basically weeded the plant. And then he was just like beside himself. I could possibly. You should have seen this weed. It was velvety pink. I'm like, I want to put a little picket fence around this thing, keep it all nice. And it was the part that, I was expected to pull. So it is just kind of like that. It's like, it totally backfires. It totally backfires. It's just like, just, you could see how just letting people to be how they are, really, it works wonders. And you know what? That was something they were a point that they were getting across on that movie, Beach Bum. That was a big point they were getting across. This dude who was the beach bum, he was really different from a regular person. He shows up at his daughter's wedding and he just comes up to the stage and he just grabs around her neck and gets on the microphone, and she's like, I can't stand him. I can't stand that he's my dad. He's so, right. And the mom was like, well, honey, he's just there for something, like he's just there for you to love him as he is. And you get to see how wonderful he is when you love him as he is. You can't see how wonderful anyone is unless you can love them as they are. So I'm not like waiting for someone to change either. It's like the images that we perceive are giving us opportunities. So I like to seize that opportunity, right? Rather than try to change things on the surface. After doing some apparent soul searching, this is not L, I realized I was very hard on my kids. So I apologized to my son for being an abusive and violent man when he was younger. He smiled at me and said, if that's what you need to get off your chest, that's okay. We are okay. Always okay. Another trick of the ego. Yeah. It's always as if something went wrong. You don't have anything to apologize for because nothing occurred. There's nothing there. See, there's this energy of always trying to get better, right, Niall? You're not quite there yet. You're always trying to get better. Something must be in the way. Yes. That's what that is. You know, there isn't, there wasn't anything done in the first place. So that's why there's nothing to apologize for. You're thinking that you need to apologize is actually teaching your mind that something was done and some damage was caused. You know, what your goal is to learn that nothing happens. Nothing anyone can do can damage anything anywhere. It's not like that. It's a trick of the mind. The cause and effect that we get a perception of are only projected cause and effect. It's a trick. We're tricking ourselves into thinking that we're guilty. As long as you take it as if you're capable of doing things, you're gonna feel guilty and as if you have to get better. But the truth remains that there is no better or worse for you. It's not like that. It's your thinking that you're that's putting you out of alignment with who you are in the moment only. You don't have to go to the past or anything. Just in the moment, and there's suffering and there's pain about that. So it's a matter of being released, being willing to be released from it in the moment. So when the thought occurs to you that you abused your kids and you were violent to them when they were younger, are you willing to be released from it? That's all. If not, you're going to have to apologize for it. And what kind of apology is that? It's an attack on yourself and it's an attack on your kids. It's attack on your mind. Because that apology is saying that I did something that has damaged you. Okay? I was a threat to you. I was treacherous to you. And remember, it's all love. So it's like in that moment, would I be willing to be released from this thought that's casting judgment on myself? See? Why wouldn't you be willing to be released? Because you think your salvation lies in pursuing the thought. You think you can save yourself by pursuing the thought. Maybe you're going to apologize and your kids are going to redeem you somehow. It's ridiculous. The ego spreading nothing but a bunch of lies. You don't have to buy into any of that shit. Nothing happened. That's the bottom line. Now, you know, you might find yourself apologizing. It's okay. You might find yourself apologizing. What I'm saying is in the moment where you get the thought impression that you did something, okay, and you did something that you need to repent for, okay, that's where you're getting an opportunity to listen to the truth. Will you just be quiet and listen to the truth, or will you pursue that thought until you have to make it your reality? So basically you're making it your reality. When you go and apologize for it, it's as if it occurred. And your son's kind of like, what the fuck? I'm fine. Don't try to make me into a basket case kid that came from an abusive dad. Yeah, nice, Chris. Thank you, Nael. I always love your questions. They're so fun. All right, I'm going to be cutting out for now anyways. So next Monday I'll be back doing this again because I freaking love it. I love you guys so much. Thank you. I'll be back on Friday again. My Fridays are going down there to the trading post. Bob Shine. Bob, are you on here? He's not even on here right now. Bob, thank you, my love. You do a great job hosting the trading post, hosting at the trading post. You're not even on here, but that's okay. You do a great job hosting there. I'll have an audio to post for you guys soon for that. And yeah, I'll be back next week. Other than that, I don't think I have anything coming up. Oh, there's a women's soak though. Anne loves them. It's another Wednesday women's soak, and I believe it is November 2nd. Yep, that's when it is, November 2nd. So that one's 35 now. I don't know why it's 35, but doesn't matter. Money's an illusion, remember. If can, if no can, no can. 35 bucks. If you want the information, email, text, whatever, I'll forward you on Melee Kai's information about that soak. Other than that, I'm just doing wisdom dialogues. I love to do wisdom dialogues. I've been writing a little, not that much. A lot of my writing has been going into making a welcome flow for Miracle Botanicals so that people, when they first come on, they can get the series of newsletters. The first one is like basically introducing ourselves. And the next one, I give a bunch of tips on using essential oils for headaches. And then the next one, I give a bunch of information on like, do we want to ingest them or not? And what's fun to ingest and how do you do it? Stuff like that. So I'm just making these like series of emails. So when people sign up for my list, and people who are already on it too will get on the flow, and then they'll get these informative emails. So I've been putting a lot of my writing kind time energies toward that and enjoying it very much. I love you, Akea. I love you, Asana. Thank you, Christine. So yeah, I've been a lot more in Miracle Botanicals lately. As you know, we laid off our staff back in January. We had a big sale where we got all of our stuff out, just me and Tony. So we're just cruising, just us. And I'm wearing a lot of hats. It's really fun. Definitely great knowing that I don't have to do anything. The feeling of overwhelm just does not bother me. I love that because I get the sense of overwhelm and know what it is right away. And I'm so glad, because whenever I get the sense of overwhelm and I won't buy into the thoughts that are justifying that feeling, I know it helps all my friends and it helps everyone. Okay. And that's really what we're here to do. We're like holding each other's hands, walking each other home. That saying, that's really how we're doing it within our own consciousness, allowing ourselves to be released. If we don't know how to get released yet, getting into a vibe where we're allowing ourselves to be relaxed, relax more. You'll get the knack for allowing yourself to be released as you allow yourself to relax more. And, that's a process, allowing yourself to relax. Just allow that with patience. It goes faster. Okay. It actually goes faster and easier with patience. It seems like the opposite is true. You don't have to be frantic about it. Relax. The spirit knows what you want. You think you know what you want, and it's not have to do with what you really want a lot of the times. And you're being guided gently, easily, and also can go pretty rapidly depending on how stubborn or not stubborn you are. Stubbornness is just a matter of saying, I don't deserve this. I can't do this. I don't have what it takes, and believing in these kinds of things. So see, you just want to see past those too, because that's just all stumbling blocks, just a bunch of BS. Check out my essential oils if you want, and sign up for my newsletter. It's going to get pretty good, I think. Miraclebotanicals.com. Thank you. I appreciate you. Mahalo. Aloha. Hui ho.